Just take a seat. Hi Christy, my name's Robin Smith and I can see that this is the first time you've been to our service, so I'm just going to talk you through the process. We are a free community legal service, which means you don't have to pay us for any of the work we do, but we can't account for any legal costs that may arise. But we can talk about any possible costs a bit later. There are a couple of things I need to explain. First, anything you tell me will be treated as confidential and I won't discuss anything you've said with anyone outside of this firm unless you give me permission. Secondly, if I need to communicate with anyone in order to obtain information or talk to anyone else about this issue, I will ask for your permission first. So we normally communicate by letter, so is this your best postal address? Okay, and is this your best contact phone number? And if I need to leave a message, can I leave it on that phone number, or would you rather I wait until I can talk to you in person?
Yeah, you can leave a message on that phone.
Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to need to get you to sign an indemnity, which just explains everything I've just told you. So would you like me to read through that, or would you rather look through it yourself?
That's okay.
One thing it does say is that because we are a free legal service, we have a limited capacity, which means that we may not be able to help you, but if we can't, we will refer you to somebody who can.
Right. So, does that mean you can't help me?
Why don't you tell me your problem first, and then I can give you an idea of what I can do.
Alright.
Now, have you got any questions, or do you need me to explain anything again?
How long do you think this will take?
Okay, well look, what's going to happen today is I'm going to get you to explain what's going on and why you're here. I'm going to ask you some questions so I can work out what the legal issues are, and then we're going to have a talk about what you want to achieve and some options that might be available to us. That's probably going to take about an hour. And that might be as far as we get today. But the point of this interview is that I'll be able to have a better understanding and a better idea of what the next steps might be. So it's hard to predict how long legal problems can take to sort out, so why don't we start by you telling me why you're here and how I might be able to help you.
Okay, well, I bought a car from Dodgy Deal Cars out on Mean North Road. It worked fine on the test drive, but from the moment I got home it was hopeless. I kept driving it for a few days, but then I rang them and said it was running really rough. But they said it just needed running in. Then, about a week later, it broke down. I had to pay to get it towed to a garage. They looked at it and said the spark plugs and some other thing, carburetor maybe, was worn and dirty, so they replaced them. That cost me $190. But then they said the whole car was rubbish, that it needed about $1,000 worth of work. Then the next weekend, it literally stopped. Smoke was coming out of the engine, there was oil coming out the exhaust. It was completely stuffed. It was a total disaster. I've got a job up at Mount Barker, that's why I bought the car, and I had to get it towed to Mum and Dad's house. That cost me $220. So my dad took me around to the dealer on Sunday the next day, and they said it was too bad, that it was a second-hand car and any problems were not their worry. That's not true, is it though? Aren't there warranties for car sales?
Why don't you just keep telling me what happened and we can get back to that later.
Okay, anyway, my dad and this guy had a huge argument and he said if we brought the car back, they'd have a look at it. But Dad said they had to organise the tow, not us. He said there was a warranty and the dealer had to fix it, but the guy said only if we brought it back. Then Dad got a mate of his who's a mechanic to look at the car. He said that the engine head cover thing was cracked and had been badly replaced, and that the car was just an accident waiting to happen. I paid $4,500 for it. He said I'd been totally ripped off. He said it needed about $800 worth of work under the bonnet. Leaky fuel lines, hoses not connected, brakes worn, and that I'd need a new engine, which would cost at least $1,500. I can't afford that. I saved up for a year to get this car. I've got nothing. He said they would have known it was a dodgy car and should have never sold it in that condition. Anyway, I really need this fixed. I can't get to work. I borrowed Mum's car last week, but I can't keep borrowing it. And if I lose this job, then I won't be able to pay my rent.
Okay, well thanks very much for all that information, Christy. Now, I'd just like to go over what you've told me and make sure that I've got it all right. And then I'm going to ask you a few questions about what happened and particular dates and events. Is that all right? So you bought a used car from dodgy car sales. You thought the car was running badly, and after a week you had to get some work done on it. Then a few days later the engine blew up. You've discussed this with the dealer, and they said they'd look at the car if you brought it to them. You've had a mechanic look at the car, and he says it needs a new engine, some other work under the bonnet, and that the faults were obvious. He thinks it will cost about $2,300 to fix the car. And you're dependent upon the car for work and need transport urgently so you can keep your job. Now, is that all correct, or is there anything I've missed?
Yeah, that sounds like everything.
Okay, so I have a few simple questions that I need to ask just to get down details and facts. On what day did you purchase the car?
It was a Wednesday, 3 weeks ago.
Okay, we can sort that out. And did you sign some sort of contract with the dealer?
Yeah, I think I still have it somewhere.
Well, I'll need to get a copy of that. And I'm going to make a list of the things that I need you to follow up on later, okay?
Alright, I'll have a look at home.
Great. Now, when did the car first break down?
Basically, the day after I bought it.
Okay, and what was the date and the time that you first called the dealer?
I can check in my phone records when I get a chance, but a few days after I bought it.
And who was the mechanic that first fixed the car?
I'm pretty sure it was called We Can Fix It.
And would you possibly have a detailed receipt of that work?
Yeah, I think I have it at home somewhere.
And do you have a receipt for the tow?
I honestly don't know. I'm sorry, I can check.
Okay. And what was the date that the engine actually blew up?
It was about 2 weeks after I bought it. I remember I can check that one because I called my friend and my phone would keep a record of that.
Okay, that's great. And finally, when did you confront the dealer about the car?
It was last Sunday.
Great. Okay. Christy, you've asked me whether there are warranties on used cars. There is a legislation that deals with consumer rights for used cars. Now, what I'll need to do is look at the legislation in order to advise you what your options are. There are different rules depending on the values of cars. Now that you give me all the information, I can check that whether this will actually apply to you. You said that the dealer said they'd look at the car when it got back there. So have you thought about whether it might be worth paying to have it towed there? I mean, is that an option?
No, I've got no money at all. I can't do that. And it's not fair. Why should I have to pay out more money? I've already put all this cost on my credit card. It's not fair.
Okay, well, it's just one option. I just wanted to raise it with you to see if we could speed up the process. It can take a while to sort out legal problems like this, and there's never a guarantee of the outcome. Now, you seem really concerned about getting to work. Is it worth looking into hiring a car or figuring out how much that could cost?
I can't afford that. I've just moved into the new flat, bought the car. I've got no money at all. Not till I get paid next fortnight, and not even then if I can't get to work.
Okay. Well, I'm going to need to do some research into your rights against dodgy dealers. I'll do that in the next couple of days and write you a letter suggesting some options and giving some of my advice, okay?
The sooner the better, I guess.
Because what I'm thinking, Christy, is that we might be able to write to the dealers alerting them of your claim and asking them to pay for a loan car. Now, we'll need to get your car back to the dealers, and we might be able to ask them to pay for the tow, but if they're not willing, we'll have to pay to get it towed there ourselves.
Okay, that's fine and all, but how am I going to get to work until then? I really need the money.
I think you're going to have to find alternative transport. Is there any way you could borrow a car or hire one, or maybe even look in public transport?
Would I be able to get the money back from the dealer?
Look, I don't know, Christy. If you have a claim against them under warranty or breach of contract, we can include all those extra costs in the claim, but it's too early for me to say until I've done any preliminary research. Either way, it's going to take some time, so we need to work now to get all arrangements in place. So I need you to do some work for me. I need you to send me the contract with the dealer and any other information about the sales of the car, receipts, warranties, etc. I need you to get me the receipts and the service record from the mechanic who did the first repairs to show what work they did, and also a receipt from the tow truck. I have a written list here for you. Also, can you get your dad's friend who looked at the car to write a short report or a letter saying what he thought about the condition of the car? And finally, could you take some photographs of the car, particularly under the bonnet and of the engine cover, etc., because that might be really useful later. I'd also like you to find out about how much it would cost to get the car towed to the dealers, or even if you could find out somebody who could tow it for you. Maybe hire a car trailer from a service station. I mean, is that something that your dad or his friend could help you with? Also, you thought you might inquire about the cost of a hire car just to tide you over for the moment. So I'll send you a letter in the next couple of days confirming what we've discussed today and telling you what I found out about the warranty situation. Now listen, there's a lot of work to be done, and we'll need to figure out how you're going to get it to work until we can figure this all out. So, We're going to talk over your legal options. We will sort it all out, and I might ask you to come in a week or so to discuss these options. Could you come see me around the same time next week?
Yeah, sure, that should be fine.
Okay, let's go make an appointment.